Hello, welcome back. Billy Ho Sports here. And we're back on the Churchill Downs Stakes action for this Saturday, tomorrow, June 1st. We're going to look at our final race on the card. Well, it's not on the, excuse me, final race on the card. It's the final race I'm covering is the Grade 3 Regret. I've already covered race 10 and race 11. You can find all the races in my playlist. So check that out. Time codes are going to be there for your benefit to jump from segment to segment. So you can go back and review all these races tomorrow or whenever you do your final handicapping. So just remember to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button. And if you have any questions, hot takes, bets, leave them in the comments. And let's get this thing going. Okay, I want to touch on the weather just one last time. I was listening to another podcast where the fellas were talking about the turf and how much rain we've had in Louisville. And, you know, they're probably thinking back to how much rain we got over Derby weekend. And we got a ton of rain last weekend. We had some severe storms. There's probably still people without power, but it has not rained a drop since Sunday. It was mild and it's been sunny all week. I'm looking outside in the beautiful sunshine right now. It's low humidity. It's dry. I am going to be checking out, and you should too, actually, check out Churchill Downs Racing today and see how the turf is running. I feel like it's going to be pretty firm. I don't think it's going to be that soft. So it's going to be listed as firm anyway. But the dirt's absolutely going to be fast. But I just thought I'd point that out because some of the other people that I have watched have mentioned that they think the turf's going to be soft. I don't think that's going to be the case. It's not going to be rock hard or nothing like it would be in the middle of the summer or something like that. But I don't think it's going to be like you remember Oaks Day and Derby Day. Oaks Day was yielding. Derby Day was good. It was really, really soft that day. And we're going to cover some horses that ran that weekend. So let's get into it. It's 1 1/8 on the turf. 3-year-old fillies. Way to be Marie's number 1. That's Rob Atris and Florence Giroux will ride. Ran big time in the Edgewood on Oaks Day, yielding turf, and she was run down late. You watch down the stretch. She's running hard, but a firmer turf, and she might actually hold off because her previous race was 8.5 at Keeneland, and she wired them. So dangerous horse there. Way to be Marie. Number 2, Everland is Eric Foster trained Abel Cedillo. 5th in the Kentucky Oaks. And as a replay, she doesn't even get into the frame. That was sloppy. You saw how wet the track was that day. We had a ton of rain. But if you jump up to the previous race, the Bourbonnette, she won that one on the all-weather turfway track, but she was gifted the rail in the stretch and kind of stole it from the inside. So she might be ready for the turf. I don't know. Number 3 is a very interesting horse, Gavea, and that's Albert Stahl, trainer. Julian Leperoux will ride. Threw in a real head scratcher last fall at the Belmont at the Big A, which is Aqueduct. She won her first 2 races, one after she won her debut overseas, and then came over and won at Churchill Downs, which you see now going a mile on the turf. But the previous race, that Big A, she was eased up, lost touch, just a complete clunker. I don't know if the jockey saw something. Maybe she was just because her head started doing that as she was losing touch, like she wasn't comfortable, not happy. Err on the side of, precautionary measure, probably. I don't think she was injured in any way. I didn't see anything on that. So, but you could see that effort at Churchill Downs. She rolled down the stretch, a little bit green in and out with her running, but was able to fend off a horse named Mo Fox Given, who actually turned out to be a pretty good turf horse this year. Almost won the Appalachian at big monster odds there. So dancing in Dixie, number 4, Mark Cassie, Jose Ortiz will ride. 3rd in the Edgewood and was rolling late. You can see on the outside the big gray chewing up the turf, which is always nice to see. I like how they do that. those are the kind of closing efforts that win turf races. So also third in the grade 2 Appalachian at Keeneland. So definitely a horse to be reckoned with. Dancing in Dixie, number 4. Number 5 is Poolside with Slim. That's George Arnold. Brian Hernandez will ride. 5th in the Appalachian, 4th in the Florida Oaks. She does have early speed, which she could get out to the lead, but she's going to have a hard time holding off all the late comers, especially this next one. Number 6 is Buchu, and that's trained by Philip Bauer. Martine Garcia, daughter of Justify, threw in a, I would call a clunker in the Edgewood, finishing 6th. I think maybe she just got tired on that yielding turf, heavy turf. She did previously win that grade 2 Appalachian on good turf. I think she'll be ready to roll on a firmer surface here. So Buku definitely high on the list. Number 7 is Hello Hollywood. That's Brian Lynch, trainer. I read Ortiz will ride. She was outkicked 9.5 furlongs. So a little bit farther distance at Keeneland, April 25th. Really good race, though. You could see by the replay, she takes the lead late, but then it wasn't enough. So it's really funny because number 8 is Sassy Princess. That's trained by Brendan Walsh. Flavian Pratt will ride. She was also in the previous race we saw. She set the pace, was in the lead when the other 3 horses passed her up going late. So I would say if the race was run at this distance, she would have won then. So Sassy Princess, interesting. Number 9 is Pin Up Betty, Mike Maker, trainer, Louis Saez, rider. She finally broke her maiden going 9 furlongs on the Churchill turf. It's interesting because back in her past, I'll show you in the past performances, she missed by a nose at Churchill Downs last fall when the race was off the turf. So number 10 is Faith Understood, and that is Jonathan Thomas. Johnny V, John Velasquez will ride. Johnny V having a rough go of it so far in the meet. Second, going a mile at Aqueduct, long shot. Running style doesn't fit. She's an early, so probably going to use up a lot of gas out of the outside post. Runs a risk of getting caught wide. So let's take a look at the past performances and finalize our selections for this race. Okay, so like I showed you in the previous video, the difference in the prime power, see how close these are between Buku and even Dancing in Dixie, rated pretty highly. The speed is pretty close. Class is pretty close. So this is a pretty interesting race. So definitely have interest in the number 1, A Way to Be Marie. I really like that effort. She showed a better kick in that race on the yielding turf. But she's ran on firm turf and has won. So, but that was her first step up into grade 2. High percentage jockey, high percentage trainer. So good looking horse there. Everland was the one I was wondering about, but the speed figures just aren't there. Did run in the all weather, and I showed you the Bourbonette, but that was an inside move. I just don't think Everland's going to be there late. But this is the one, Gavea, who's kind of a wild card. Definitely got a goose egg for that clunker there. But you can see she won the first 2 out. Definitely a good race at Churchill Downs. So developing over the wintertime, has been off more than 7 months. So you don't really know how she's going to do. She's been training pretty hard coming up to the fact for this race. So keep an eye on her. May just need this race, and maybe we'll see down the road. Dancing in Dixie, solid this season. Definitely a little classier than the rest. Appalachian, Florida Oaks, things of that nature. So don't leave out of the exotics. Poolside with Slim, I'm going to pass on. Just not there for me. Here's Buku, and probably going to be your favorite. Grade 2, grade 1. Won the grade 2 here. Definitely the class of the race. Justify is the sire. So can't knock that. Justify has sired horses like Just Steel, Just FYI, who was a Breeders' Cup juvenile turf champ. Just a Touch, everybody was super high on the Derby trail, triple crown trail and whatnot. Hello Hollywood is actually one I think is interesting. She may move forward off of that race I showed you where she nearly won. Got a 90 speed number, so if she can move forward off of that, could make her competitive at a value price. So might go overlooked. But the rest of this field, Sassy Princess, got a 90 as well. I don't think that you can dismiss her. I was planning on dismissing her, but after I rewatched the race and saw how close she was in fourth just by a neck, uh, I can't really say Hello Hollywood is better. So it's hard to say. Cairo Prince is the sire. Oscar Performance is the sire. Kitten's Joy. I think maybe just a little bit better turf pedigree on the Hello Hollywood. That's the only thing I could maybe come up with. Little classier, slightly. So Peanut Betty and Faith Understood are out. Let's finish things off, and we'll get on to our weekend. So I'm going to side with Justify progeny, Buchu for the win. But a close second is number one, Wait to Be Marie. Number 7, Hello Hollywood, has Irad Ortiz aboard, which I think is a good value play. Number 4, Dancing in Dixie. And then I have number 3 as the live long shot. Gavea is probably going to be a real live long shot. Well, it's going to be a really long shot. So you just never know what you're going to get with sometimes. And Phillies as well. Phillies on the turf could be wild. So I want to have that one in there. So what I was thinking about doing was betting maybe just a 1-6 over the 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, like you see there. $2 exacta would be $16. The race I think is spread out enough that where you ought to get 2-1 or better on the favorites. I mean, Buchu might go lower. It might be more of a part wheel in a trifecta bet where you try to get the 6 with the 1, 3, 4, 7, 8. Throw in the 8 if you want, something like that. But hopefully we'll get some good return on investment in there. But I do like the 6 for the win, and the 1 is a close second. So that'll do it for the regret. That completes our 6-race stakes card for June 1st. I hope you liked it. Remember that it's all going to be in the playlist. Tune in for Belmont Stakes action coming very soon. We should have past performances. So let's have a great weekend. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.